We're recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I just saw the little light in the corner. What are my thoughts on intuitive eating? It kind of scares me, to be very honest, because I'm so used to tracking.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I would ever be able to transition into something like that.
Mm.
I think that it's good for people who maybe see tracking and they take it in a negative way and they get way obsessive over it and it kind of like leads into some disordered eating type of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when they should back off from tracking and they should do something like intuitive eating. Then like the basic guidelines of eating every 3 to 4 hours, prioritizing protein, and like you follow these little things. But yeah, me, like I don't think I would be able to. I think I would be more stressed to intuitive eat than tracking macros.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the thing is, depending on what your current goal is. So if you're someone who's like competing, you're in off season or whatever, it would be kind of silly to intuitive eat unless, like you said, you need a break from dieting. It's causing some
Right.
sort of eating disorder or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's obviously good to track what you're eating because then you can track your progress. You know what is going wrong, what's going right. I'm personally someone who has done phases of intuitive eating.
Okay.
And the main reason I've done this in the past is literally for the reason of like to forget about being food focused.
You were too food focused.
Yeah.
Was this right after a competition?
So usually it's following dieting. When I've just been so strict, and I know myself that when I'm in a dieting phase, I get really focused on the goal. I'm like I even like being really structured with my nutrition, with my meals and stuff. So I like having like a few weeks off, or like let's say for Christmas when I went to go see my family in Estonia.
Yeah. I think that it's actually really good on vacation time to do something
exactly.
like this.
So
I
then,
think that's what I did on my sister's wedding too.
exactly.
Yeah.
I've even done it. There's a few days like during this lockdown that I've done intuitive eating. Like if we had barbecue, how, yes, sure, you can like guesstimate the macros, but in my head, I'm like, am I preparing for a show? No, I'm not. What's one day off my plan going to do? Nothing,
Yeah.
It's not like I was eating crazy amounts of food.
Right.
So I personally think intuitive eating is fine. Like, do what you want to do, but if you want to make specific progress, like you have a specific goal and you want to make progress towards that, eating intuitively will make it harder for you because you don't know what you're eating. If you're under recovering, how do you know how much more food you need to eat? Or like,
hey, you have no data.
yeah, or let's say Annabel right now, like she's not losing body fat. What do we do? Oh, well, we don't know what she's eating. So if I just say to her, eat less, like what's she gonna do?
Yeah.
So it really just depends on what your goal at the time is.
That's true.
But having said that, I have lost weight in the past. Before I even knew about tracking macros, I have lost weight through intuitive eating. But it is obviously
There's this girl on Instagram. What's her name? Amelia Thompson.
yeah.
I feel like she's a very big advocate for intuitive eating.
Yeah, she's someone who used to diet quite a lot.
Okay. Did she
So
actually compete?
yeah, she used to compete and stuff. But she really focuses on like the mental health side of things when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah.
Because people can become very obsessed about macros, about diet plans and things like that. So intuitive eating just helps you kind of have that break from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think tracking is difficult. That's the thing. For some people, I think it might be a chore because they make it a chore.
Yeah.
But it's nice knowing that you can eat what you like and you're still able to achieve your goals,
Exactly.
Like in Annabel's.
You're in control. It gives you a certain freedom.
Yeah, like in
I
Annabelle.
love it. Like I can't imagine any other way now.
Yeah. Like you're in prep, you had your mom's birthday, you went out with Kabir. Obviously, it's not ideal to, I'm not saying like go out to the restaurant every week of your prep, but in Annabelle's case, like if she didn't know how to track, right, in her head, what would she have done? She would have literally freaked out, either like completely not gone and missed out.
Not gone.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past.
or she would have screwed it up because she'd be like completely clueless of what the food is, you know. But because she has knowledge of tracking, she can just kind of go like, you know what, this seems about right.
Or
So,
I just take the scale with me.
yeah, or take a scale with you.
That's
Exactly.
it.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty much our take on intuitive eating.
Yeah.
Just really think about what your goal is, you know. Yeah. um
Moving on.
do you have to have a certain body to prep for competition? So this question actually was asked by one of my clients,
Okay.
and she wants to compete in the future. She's not now in a position where she can enter a prep, and she knows that, but
Why do you say that? Is it
because
just
she hasn't, we haven't primed her, we haven't put her in a position where she can like enter a contest prep right now.
yeah?
But I think she's a bit, she looks at people who have competed or just girls who are in shape, and she
Yeah.
sees that as a really long term, like far away goal. She thinks she can't be that. And I think sometimes people think they have to have a specific body or body type in order to compete. And so she asked whether, like, is that true? And, you know, when someone inquires with you for competition prep, do you like look at their body and go, no, you can't do competition prep, you know? So yeah, I think this is quite a good question because
That is a good question.
I think a lot of people do doubt themselves. And I remember the day when I wanted to do a prep and I was like, I will never be able to look like that, but you know, if I have a coach who knows what they're doing, I'm sure she'll help me.
Yeah.
And I remember like sending her the pictures, and then she even asked like, what is your goal physique, like what do you want to look like? And I sent her like a picture of a bikini girl, you know. And then at like 1 month out, I looked back at those pictures and I'm just like, wow, I look so different now. Yeah, so I think everyone can go through a fat loss phase and get lean, right? Because your physique looks so different. Like I was actually looking at yours a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
from like January to now, and you look so different. Like obviously there is similarities, but like you're like, wow, this is completely different physique.
I know.
So I really do believe that people look different when they're dieted down, especially in their midsection, like their waist.
Yeah.
Um, is there such thing as having a more favorable physique? Of course there is. Like I'm
Of
not.
course there is. You have to see what the criteria is for the division that you want to enter, first of all. And then take a real look at yourself. What are we working with? What do we need to improve?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Someone has a wider waist, there are ways to work around it. Bodybuilding is an illusion, right? And it's
exactly.
great because you can pick and choose what you want to build.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I think like being real, of course, there's people who have physiques that, you know, they say, oh, they don't have the best genetics. That's like the term that people
yeah.
use. But the thing is, like Annabel said, that's why there's such thing as posing, right? Judges look for different things on the day. Every season there's a different look, literally. Like, so to be honest with you, if you think like, oh well, maybe I'm not the right person for, I think you should just go for it. Just try it, because if you try it and you get feedback, first of all, you know what to work on. Second of all, if the feedback is like something that you feel like you can't achieve, then at least you've done it, and now you know.
Exactly.
And
Definitely give it a shot for sure.
yeah,
But like you said, posing is so different. I was looking at you know how I do that front pose?
yeah,
The main one, hand on the hip, glute out.
yeah,
So foot positioning is crazy. Like for me, I angle it just a little bit, not completely to the side. But I saw this one girl, bikini competitor, Jasmine Garcia Gonzalez, something like that.
yeah,
She does the same pose, but her foot is pointing forward.
yeah, yeah,
It's crazy different. I tried doing that and I'm like, this feels so weird and it looks
yeah,
very different too. But yeah, there is a way to make
yeah.
your body look like it
Yes,
has curves
especially,
when it actually
yeah,
doesn't.
especially with like the bikini division, there actually isn't a mandatory like front pose. Actually, even in figure, I don't think there is. So your front pose literally can be you standing sideways, and then they only have two poses, the front pose and then the back pose. So if you have a thick waist, you don't even need to show it. The only time they will see it is when you're walking to the
When you're walking.
So I think it's really, yeah, it's really important to know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yes.
And you know, it's like 50% of your physique is how you pose, I would say, you know.
That's everything. Oh
um
yeah.
but when it comes to like, you know, telling a potential client like are they suited for bikini or competing, what I always say to them is like, first of all, I don't think Annabel works with people who just come to her and say I want to just do a 12-week prep, right?
I'm like, please back away. I
Yeah.
can't. I push them to you. If anything, I don't think that, first of all, I don't think that I'm ready for clients who are competing. And if I were to ever take someone through a show, I would need a very long time just to
Mm.
understand
Yeah.
their
The
bodies.
first thing I do is definitely tell them that they can achieve it, but they need to realize that fat loss and competition prep are two different things completely.
Completely different.
And that they need to spend some time priming their body. And priming isn't just to do with body fat, it's about making sure that their lifestyle is in a position where they can go through something stressful like that.
Yes.
Making sure their training is good, making sure their nutrition is good. Like
Sleep.
Annabel, using her as an example, her training like was in a really good place before all this started, which is why during the quarantine, like people are surprised, oh, how did she maintain her physique using a pair of dumbbells? It's because she's been so consistent in her off season with her training that a few weeks with using a bit lighter weight is not going to make a significant difference to her physique. Okay, maybe she can lose a bit of fullness, but
Right.
that's going to come back really quickly, you know? Whereas if you're someone who's never trained before and then they all of a sudden want to do competition prep because they see on Instagram that people who compete look muscular, they automatically think, okay, if I want to look like that, I just need to do a competition prep. When in reality, when you're in prep, you're not actually really making significant changes to your muscle mass. You're making
No, that's just when
significant,
you reveal it all.
yeah.
The real work is done in the off season, and I
Mm,
think that that's what a lot of people do not give enough time towards.
exactly. And that what you're doing in contest prep is you're preserving as much muscle as possible. Some say
Hmm.
you can even potentially gain, but I think it really depends on your like history.
Yeah.
But what you're essentially doing is reducing body fat, which really changes your proportions, you know? Let's say you're someone who stores all their body fat in their stomach. So when they go through a contest prep, their waist will be so much smaller. You know
True.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think everyone can do it. Yes, some people have better genetics than others, but you know, if you think like that, you're not going to get anywhere. So why not?
Exactly. Don't ever use that as an excuse. And there are so many people with shit genetics that actually made it to the Olympia stage,
Mhm.
right? Because they knew how to pose well. They had other body parts that were freaking phenomenal. What was it? Dorian Yates had such an incredible back with the shittiest arms. Was it something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the thing is, like, also you need to understand that like very few people can just like compete and then straight away turn pro and then straight away go to Olympia, right? Most people are just so persistent with their goal. They're like, right, I want to do this. They compete, refine. They
Hmm.
change their physique until they're finally where they need to be. You know,
Yes.
it's not easy to do all of this. So you have to understand that just because your physique looks a certain way now doesn't mean that you can't change it, you know?
Hmm.
And the best thing I've seen is like, you know, some girls in the bikini pro division, like their feedback was like, your legs are too big. They literally come back the following season and their legs are so much smaller because they've gone away and they've done their homework, or you know, their delts aren't big enough, so they come back and they have bigger delts. So it's a,
Hmm.
it's a, yeah, what you said, it's, you're basically a sculpture and you're adding muscle where you need to add it.
Hmm.
So that's the best way to view it, you know, and not to really think, oh, am I good enough or not? You just
Right.
have to try it. But it is hard work. You have to be prepared to put hours in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think years too.
Yeah.
It's not just too many girls come to me thinking that they'll like have a physique in a year's time. It
It
takes so
won't.
much longer than that. Someone DM me, how long did it take you to get to your physique now? And I'm like, 5 years.
Exactly.
Seriously.
yeah, that's one of the most frustrating things.
How long has it been for you? When did you start lifting?
I started lifting in 2014, January 2014.
Okay.
Proper, like not properly, but like actually going to the gym and like weight training.
Yeah.
But then before that, I played sports, so I know that my muscles do have muscle memory and like the quad dominance. That's probably because I played basketball and I did a lot of running.
Or football. You play football too, right?
Yeah,
Soccer?
yeah, and
Yeah.
football as well. So, yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to have played like sports or, both Annabelle and I have been training for years. We both went through phases. Like I remember when I first started, I literally had no muscle. I was really skinny. So it just takes
Same.
time. And I'm actually really excited to document me coming back out of an injury. And I will post honest physique shots, but people, I think they'll be shocked because, like, I've lost a lot of size, like a lot. But I think and I believe through doing research and reading, this is what's made me stay kind of sane,
Calm.
is
Okay.
that it will come back a lot quicker. Because think about it, if I train for 6 years and I take half a year off, the 6 years of gains is not going to go away. Like,
Of course not,
I
Sammy.
mean, but like my delts have lost size. Like they used to be way bigger, but it's just the reality of it, and I'm not letting that affect me right now. And it is getting better. My injury, it just takes time
Yeah.
because it took years to happen. So obviously, it's going to take some time for it to heal.
Of
We'll
course.
go into that later in the podcast where we talk about our training and stuff. But yeah, everyone can do.
Cool. Another thing. Is it true that gyms are opening July 25th or something like that in the
Yeah,
UK?
so in the UK, I don't know if we talked about this in the last episode, but they decided to open the pubs. Do you know what a pub is? Like
Yeah,
it's,
like bars.
yeah, before gyms. Right. And then the next day so they did that on the 4th of July. And then the following day in the news, the headline is, it is crystal clear that drunk people cannot maintain social distancing. And I'm just like, you needed to do that in order to know that. Like, that's so stupid.
Mm,
So yeah, they opened restaurants and pubs. The only kind of reasoning behind it that I can see is that they want to start the economy. And what's going to bring more money, pubs and restaurants or gyms? Of
or
course,
gyms.
more
Mm,
people, unfortunately, go out and drink alcohol and go to pubs.
yeah.
So I understand why they did that, but equally, I don't think you should place that above gyms. Maybe open them at the same time.
At
Um,
least.
yeah, but I don't know what to make of this whole coronavirus thing. I posted a study, maybe you've seen on my story a couple of days ago, how in Norway they've literally conducted studies to see if coronavirus can spread if people are in the gym and they're like maintaining the social distancing, and like no one got ill, even though there was some people who had coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And Sweden and Norway, they just decided not to do anything about this whole virus. They did something called herd immunity, which is basically like, if you're someone who feels like you're vulnerable, stay at home. But why would you ruin the whole economy of the country? Like, if there are people who can actually survive the coronavirus. And to be honest, I think they've made the coronavirus seem like it's really deadly, when in reality, it's like a cold. It's like just a really bad cold.
Right.
So it's like, why not give people the option? Like, if you're prepared to like go outside and potentially get it, but just know you're most likely like 95%, 99%, you're not going to die,
Not gonna.
So, and then those people who feel vulnerable, they can just stay at home, and then the economy would have been fine.
That's such a better
Yeah,
way
because
to go about it. Yeah, like it's your choice.
and
But
they
follow these guidelines.
yeah,
If
and
anything.
obviously
Yeah.
we don't want to get into this political debate, but like, you know how the government, due to coronavirus, has had to fund like all of these companies, so they can pay their staff 80%. It's called furlough. Furlough. Have
Mhm.
you heard of that term?
I have.
The thing is, where do you think that money is coming from? People's taxes. So then, what potentially may happen is, over the next few years, people's taxes are going to go up.
We're gonna spike up.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you're not actually gaining anything from this. So
Mm.
I don't know. I just find it retarded. But anyway, on the
I don't know
25th,
either. Well, let me tell you something. Unemployment here, I think it's quite absurd too.
yeah,
Each individual is getting $800 at least. Yeah, give or take $800 a week. Can you imagine how many
$800 a week.
Americans? Yes,
That's so much. That's actually crazy.
$800 a week. It's like, babe, what is it again? It's like $200 for the unemployment plus 600 from the federal government assistance. So yeah, $800.
Yeah, that's mad.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I question that too. I'm like, where is all this money coming from all of a sudden? They're just handing out money.
Yeah. And also, right, last thing, I don't want to go into these political debates. So, guys, you can skip this part if you're not interested. Something Seb told me, which is quite interesting. But in the US, you guys don't have free healthcare. It's all private, and you have to have either insurance or you just pay for your healthcare privately, right?
Yes.
So what the government has done in the US is anyone who has coronavirus and they're being treated, they're actually paying, if they die from coronavirus, they pay the hospital for some reason. I forgot why, but for some reason they actually pay for it, right? Right. If the person dies on a ventilator, they get paid even more. So, and I think it's just because, because of the resources they had to use or something like that, and they're trying to help out the healthcare through this pandemic.
Okay.
What do you think is going to happen to the numbers that are being reported?
They're gonna go up.
Exactly, because I'm sorry,
they're getting money from it.
If you're a doctor and you have a family at home, someone can die from something else, but if you report it as coronavirus, you're going to get an extra, I think it's like 20 grand or something. So
I saw this meme and it was like, man, eaten by shark but killed by coronavirus.
Exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
So that's why, unfortunately, you look at all the countries and like the US has such a high rate. Yes, it's a big country, but in my opinion, a lot of those numbers are not actual deaths from coronavirus. Same as in the UK, they don't have that, but if you have cancer and you catch coronavirus, you've actually died from coronavirus, not cancer.
Not from the cancer.
Same, anything, any illness you have, if you have coronavirus, that's it, you've died from coronavirus. So that's why I don't really, the numbers are a bit.
Are you ready for this? This is really freaky. Grab your phone right now.
Grab my phone.
In Google. Type any random number.
What, like
any random number? Like a 4-digit number, 3-digit number.
Okay. 7.
Like I'll do 564. And then next to it, write new cases.
So I wrote 743. Okay, new cases. And then just search.
And then just search. And then it automatically goes to coronavirus new cases. But that's for any number that you type. And it'll say 5 days ago, 3 days ago, an hour ago.
Yeah, and 1 day ago, Iowa reporting over 743 new COVID-19 cases. I'm going to try a different number.
Try a different number. Kabir's friend who's a cop told us about this.
546. 5 deaths, 546 new COVID cases it's in India. It literally says Telangana. That's so jokes. That's so weird.
It'd be crazy.
That's so random. But yeah, that's like our little political debate on the coronavirus. Yeah. But yes, the gyms are opening on the 25th. I don't know what the rules are going to be. Okay. I know that I don't care and I'm going to go because, like, sorry, I cannot like keep doing what I'm doing right now. I'm literally just doing like rehab stuff.
Yeah.
We'll go into the training later, but yeah, I'm just gonna go in. I've had a couple clients who've asked to not go into the gym, like they still want to take some time off, but they also have access to like equipment at home. So, and I think the reason why they don't want to go, well, they said it themselves, is, you know, they don't really want to go when there's going to be loads of people because everyone's going to be going crazy. The gyms are probably going to be busier now.
Now more than ever.
Yeah, because, yeah, I don't know. I think because obviously in January people get like, you know, new year,
New Year resolution.
whereas this is going to be like, oh crap, even the people who haven't ever trained, they probably gained weight over the coronavirus because they're not going to work, they're not commuting, they've had to stay indoors, you know, they haven't been able to go out, they probably feel really unhealthy.
Yeah.
So they're they're going to want to go to the gym. So I don't know how they're going to manage it, to be honest. And I can't imagine doing exercises in a mask. Like, imagine doing like a squat, like a hack squat with a mask on your face. That's going to be so weird.
At least you can make the ugliest faces and no one will see.
Yeah.
You're like,
do you have a mask?
I just have like the
The
blue ones, the normal
I
like
wanna,
construction.
yeah, I want to get, like, this might sound silly, but I really want to get like a cool one.
What kind? What?
Yeah, because they make these cool ones. And you know what I want to get? Have you seen Venom? Like the Marvel film?
Yes, I have.
I want to get the
Black, like, yeah.
because it's funny. Like, I just feel like you might as well like make a joke out of it.
That would be sick to train in.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because here it's mandatory. You have to wear it on like public transport.
Right.
Do you have to wear it like every?
Sabine and I just went to a restaurant yesterday, right?
Yeah.
For a little date. And it's pretty stupid. I didn't get this, but you have to wear the mask to enter the restaurant. And you can only remove the mask when you're sitting at your table. But everybody is without a mask when they're at the table. Yeah. But then if I need to go to the bathroom, I have to put the mask back on.
Maybe it's because like the spread of your like droplets.
Something like that. There were even like plastic like fake walls separating each table.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I wonder what it's like here. Because I'm still not in London. I'm like still in the countryside because I'm trying to stay here as much as I can because like what's the point of me going back to London? Like,
true.
There won't be, and plus I won't see Seb and there's not that much to do if everything is still kind of closed. So I'll probably go at the end of the month, but
okay.
And plus the puppy. So
of course.
Yeah. But it's nice being in the countryside. For you, you're like not really in the city, are you?
No, it's a good in between. Like mom was pretty country. New Jersey, right? Green everywhere. Here, you have a bit of both, but it's definitely more city-like.
Yeah.
Not as much as Manhattan. Definitely not.
Yeah. So I think we kind of touched on this last time, but like how to calculate maintenance calories.
You want to start or me? What was that noise?
I'm trying to think if that was a fly.
Oh.
Did we talk about this last time? I swear we talked about.
I think we talked about it because I remember saying how I always get the food log and then I track the macros, take the average.
Yeah, I think we did answer that. So whoever asked this, listen to the last episode. But just to quickly summarize, how to calculate it, in my opinion, no online calculator will give you like the exact number what your maintenance is, and I think the best way to go about it is see how someone responds to a certain amount of food. And the numbers, and the numbers always changing. So depending on what you're doing, how many steps you do, you know, let's say you got a new job, your maintenance now is going to go up or down depending on, is it a more active job or are you sitting more? So even time of year, like I think your maintenance calories go down in the winter because you don't want to go outside as much because it's cold and it's raining or snowing.
That's true.
So so people are more likely to stay inside, whereas like in the summer you're more out and about. But I guess that's the same thing as steps, really. You're depending on what your steps are. So if you don't know your maintenance calories, just track what you're eating and then see how your body's responding.
And take it from there. Exactly.
Yeah, it's really simple. What courses do you need to take to be a good coach? This is actually quite a good question
That
because
is a very good question. And you have quite a couple of courses
yeah.
under your belt, don't you?
However, what I do want to say is that courses do not define someone and whether they're a good coach or not, nor does their education. And I think this is something that unfortunately is like, this industry is very confusing because it's not regulated, first of all,
Mhm.
unless you're working in a gym, because obviously that's
Right.
regulated. But there are people out there who've done courses, right? Who have every name under the sun, but they're not good coaches. They're knowledgeable, but they can't apply it to practice. Equally, you might get people who are like really good coaches, but they don't have enough of that like knowledge, like application, right? But they're
Mhm.
really good coaches. So what I think you need to understand is that to be a good coach, you need to, of course, have knowledge, right? You want to be kind of clued up on stuff. You don't necessarily have to go to specific courses, but read in your own time, do research, personal experience, working with different individuals.
Right.
So you kind of learn through your own experience, and also just like working with a coach as well, teaches you stuff.
Thank
So
you so much. I've learned so much from you. I think I'm the coach I am today because I had you
oh,
as my mentor.
but I'm always happy to help you, to be honest, like, or anyone for that matter. And I think it's probably the same for you. Like, you probably help your clients,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the thing when it comes to coaching. There's not a manual for it. It's something that it's a thing you develop from learning about stuff from personal experiences. And
Yeah.
as much as of course I enjoy going to courses and love education, I think if you go and you don't get anything out of that course and you don't apply it, that doesn't, just because you went to that course, you're not a better coach. It's only if you go and you then use it and apply it to your clients.
100%.
But just to kind of off the top of my head, what are some good courses? So the one I mentioned to you,
And one, right?
N1 Education, they are expensive. So start with like a free course, see if you like it. Then potentially,
Do
if
they
you,
always offer these free courses, or is it just once in a while that they have?
at the moment they just have a free course on their website.
Okay.
So yeah, but then the rest are paid. You won't really get, unfortunately, yes, you will get loads of like information about fitness, about nutrition online for free. But unfortunately, if you want to do a course, you have to pay for them because,
Mhm.
how else are you going to educate yourself?
Right.
Um, so N1 Education is really good. Um, my coach's website, the
Muscle
Muscle
mentors?
Mentors, yeah, that one is good because with that one, it's way cheaper than any course that you see. It's like they have different packages. The cheapest one is like £40, which I think is probably
Oh,
$50
that's nothing.
a month. And they basically have PowerPoint presentations, and then they're like in the corner talking. And it's really similar to the course that I actually attended. Uh,
Okay.
but they're really good. I would highly suggest that. Um, what other
What
online?
about courses for nutrition? Because and when you were saying that that's great for training, right? And muscle mentors as
They have
well.
some
Do
nutrition stuff as
okay.
well on there, but for specifically nutrition, again, it depends what you want. So if you're doing the course for general, like educating yourself,
Mhm.
you can do. There's ACA. The
AC.
actual, I'm trying to think what the actual abbreviation stands for. I forgot actually. I
Yeah, I
don't.
haven't heard of this ACA.
ACA nutrition. One second. Advanced Coaching Academy. So they do something about nutrition. I haven't done it myself, but I've heard about it. It's by Phil Lerney. Have you heard of Phil Lerney?
No, I haven't either.
It's some guy in the industry, but they do nutrition course. Another one is Precision Nutrition.
Yes, that's the one that I've heard.
Yeah, that one was originated by John Berardi. He actually has a book as well. Um, but it's not about nutrition. His is more about like coaching and stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, here it says nutrition certification, coaching, and software. So that's another one you can do. But what you need to understand is a lot of these courses, you pay for them, but you don't necessarily get like a certificate, right? You don't get like Annabel is now a certified nutritionist or registered nutritionist, right? If you want one of those, you're gonna have to look at either universities. They sometimes do like courses.
Mm-hmm.
There's one called Guru Nutrition or IOPN, like performance nutrition. That one gives you like a not undergraduate, it's a post grad diploma. So it's like what you would get after high school. It's not even a uni degree. It's just like
Oh, okay.
after high school. Um, but to be completely honest with you, that piece of paper, in my opinion, like what is it going to get you unless you're looking to go and work for like a sports team, or you're
Mm-hmm.
looking to, I don't know, go somewhere where they need to see this. If you're doing this because you want to be an online coach, if I were you, I'd spend the money on other courses that really specialize in what you're doing, because
Yeah.
a lot of these courses that give you like a paper, they're not looking at athletes specifically, they're looking at general pop. You've probably heard of Mac Nutrition.
Yes.
Mac Nutrition, it's
I
good.
watched his seminar in Dubai once.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yes, I think he did go to Dubai, didn't he? He does courses as well, but again, like you're not, just because you've done that, you're not now a certified nutritionist.
Yeah, definitely not.
So that's why I'm a bit funny about these courses, because it's like I'd rather spend the money and go to a course where I don't know any of the information presented, rather than going somewhere, listening to what I already know, and then get a paper for it at the end of it. And then what am I going to do with that paper? Put it in my Instagram bio, like, oh, I also have this. Like, no, honestly. And some of the most knowledgeable coaches that I know, they didn't do any of those
They
courses.
didn't do any of them. Yeah, there's so many
From
people like that.
experience and applying it to your clients, because let's be honest, what brings you clients is your client results, right? Yes, you can know as much as, you know, the top PhD guy, but if you don't apply that, and you can't apply it to your clients, and you don't have results, who's going to want to work with you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, if you're someone who's very like based on paper and knowledge and all of that, maybe you should work somewhere where they look at that. They kind of pay you depending on what you've done, and that could be measured. Whereas if you're someone who's a coach, right, this is something where you get knowledge from a broad, like loads of different places, and you apply it to your own practice. Everyone has their own coaching style, you know, obviously loads overlap, but my personal approach is a combination of what I've learned over the past 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I just found like, okay, this works for me, let me try it with one of my clients, like one of my first clients. Okay, I learned from her this, so then, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. I do.
That's how it works. Like, so I think there isn't one specific course I'd recommend, but there are a few, not loads of them, but there are a few that you can do. Unfortunately, a lot of them I think are more practical.
We can link them down below,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
think it would
people
be
can
easier
see
to
the
link down
websites. Yeah,
below, so you can like check them out. But
exactly.
yeah, and like join those website, those like a hypertrophy coach has a website. Um, JP, yes, a lot of it is about drugs, but they do have some really like interesting
Good
stuff on
stuff.
my coach's website, Muscle Mentors. Those are like the three that I would say.
Even Muscle Mentors also, they have like a subscription website where they
Yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
forum and videos.
No, they don't base. They have no. They do have a forum, but theirs is very education based. So theirs isn't about like different athletes. Theirs is more about just education
Teachings.
in general.
Okay.
So I would recommend that. Um, it's worth it. It is like more expensive than other websites.
Right.
Revive Stronger have one as well. Theirs is cheap. Theirs is like £7 a month.
Okay.
And there's again, they have research reviews and stuff like that on there. So to be honest, it is good. And I would start with that first, educate yourself, and then look to do a course.
Okay.
Um, how did we meet? This, I swear we've talked about this so
I
many.
think we have, because I remember talking about how I fangirled over you and it started from a DM message.
Mm.
Yeah.
But let's say it one more time, like really in detail. So I remember years ago, Annabel messaged me asking me some sort of question about something.
It was glutes.
It was, yeah, about glue. And how did you find my page, first of all? Did I just pop up somewhere?
No. Ex-boyfriend, Josh Bridgman, bodybuilding.com.
Oh, yeah.
Saw him,
Yeah. Okay.
followed him, saw you, and I'm like, damn, this girl followed you then. I think 2017, you were prepping for a show. Was
Yeah.
that it? Or you just finished your show and
Yeah.
he was like showing, he would post like where you started and he would
Mm.
just talk about your prep. Yeah, and I was really interested in that. So
Because
from that moment on,
he applied for that bodybuilding.com thing that same year that I competed. So that makes
okay.
sense, yeah. And then she messaged me about glutes, and obviously I replied. And then I looked at her profile, I followed her back. And then I think you asked me something else, and I was looking, I'm like, I feel like this girl, because you were in competition prep, I'm like, I feel like a lot of these questions, she, like, her coach should be basically giving her.
Answering them, yes.
And I even asked her, I'm like, do you have a coach? And it was at the time when I kind of started to realize in this industry that a lot of coaches out there are just not really like personal with their clients.
Mhm.
And so I just remember asking you whether you have a coach or not, and you're like, yeah, I do have a coach.
I did. It was my ex-boyfriend at the time, and the thing is, he was my first coach ever. I owe a lot. Like I got into competing because of this person, but that the style wasn't that
Yeah,
great. The way that I was eating, the way that I was training, it was very off. There was a
yeah,
lot like missing. Yeah. So as soon as Sammy asked, I didn't think twice about it. I was like, yes, I want to get coached by her.
yeah. And I was only like, I was starting up my coaching back then. Um, and so I kind of just like reached out to Annabelle, and I thought, well, if you want to get coached, I'm currently offering
I'm
coaching.
here. Yeah.
So it was kind of cool how we connected. And I think what was nice was the fact that like Annabelle was really open to working with someone different. Um, and we just kind of connected.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Um, and I think also just like to touch on that topic of coaches. I don't necessarily think you have to have like loads of different coaches who you've worked with, let's say, because there are coaches who are very married to one style of training and nutrition, all of that, right? And I think it's really important as a coach that you are keeping up with the times. So you are
100%.
contemporary, right? That means it's constantly changing.
Just open-minded, and
Yeah.
that's what you are,
Yeah.
because from where we first started to
Yeah.
where we are now, you've applied so many different things,
Yeah.
and I didn't question you once. I'm like, something new, okay, done, let's do
Yeah.
it. I always told you, use me as your guinea pig.
Yeah. Yeah,
um
exactly.
but yeah, for example, do you remember when our training used to be all about RP?
Yeah. So we
Uh-huh.
had phases we were doing RPE, we were like increasing volume over the weeks through RPE as opposed to intensity. Because yeah, there are loads of ways to, like they say in England, skin a cat. Like there's no right or wrong as long as you're progressing, right?
Right.
But I think it's so important as a coach, and for those who I don't know, are getting into coaching or working with a coach, um, if there is someone who's like has their kind of way established and that's it, nothing ever changes, I think you first of all of course you'll get bored of that, but also you need to question, like, is that coach kind of just settled for like their job and that's it, like they're not looking to improve. um,
Right.
I'm personally always like seeing how we can improve stuff, and like it's
And that's the thing, like you're constantly trying to learn,
yeah.
and you go to these courses, and
Oh,
it's not
me.
like you're stagnant, you're not stuck, you're always like, I'm hungry to know more, and then you're eager to explain and to teach too, and I
Yeah.
think that's what makes a good coach.
Yeah, I think that's really important because a lot of people, they think for some reason that online coaching is like an easy job. It really isn't. If you do it properly, you need to understand that like everyone's different. Not one method is going to suit one person. You need to continue kind of, you know, reading up on stuff because things always change. There's new research like every year, you know,
True.
new books being released every year. And you know, don't be afraid to experiment with your clients, because I know that probably sounds like, oh, how can I do that? I'm only going to stick to what I know. It's like, look, as long as you're not killing your clients by like, I don't know, putting them on some low calories and like extremely high cardio and like not managing anything, okay, that's questionable. But if you're literally like, okay, right, I'm going to be honest with Annabelle, in Annabelle's case, right? I've always kind of been a bit funny about higher rep stuff because I'm like, I really believe in this, like, let's get stronger, let's put on muscle, right? But there is actual research that says from Brett Contreras, right, who's the glute guy, that, you know, if you do higher rep stuff, it targets other
For
muscle
muscle fibers.
other muscle fibers in your glutes. Or if you're looking to target that upper shelf, you need to do like higher rep, like lateral band walks and stuff. um, I have the glute book, I've purchased it, so I've read it through there, plus I've read it obviously on his page, and I've put that in Annabelle's program because that is something that we want to work on. And we had a brief time before this coronavirus crap started. Obviously, you didn't have the same equipment in your home gym,
Right.
but we did have a program that was very much based on finishing with super high reps. She even had like 40 reps on one of the exercises. And then at the start of the session, she had like 6 rep stuff, you know? And I know for a fact that there are coaches who will look at that and laugh, and they'll be like, oh, well, actually, the way you grow glutes is from heavy squats, you know? But the thing is, like, I'm not saying that this is going to build muscle. We are looking at shape, right? Annabelle has a specific physique that she's aiming for. So, yes, you're going to get big legs from squatting, but we're not looking to have big legs overall. We're looking to have big glutes and toned legs,
Right.
you know? So maybe there are certain exercises that bring out a certain shape to your glutes, and that's what we're doing. We're playing around with that. You know, we've noticed that when she doesn't train her quads, or if we make sure that she thinks in her head, right, I'm doing this exercise, I need to make sure my quads don't activate. Like, it does make a difference to her legs, you know? So a lot of coaches will probably, you know, oh yeah, that's just bullshit, just squat heavy. And they're very like bought into that. When in reality, your body, think about it, it's going to respond what you give to it. So why not experiment with the different. So I don't know, I think this is where that whole practical application comes. It's like, do you
Mm-hmm.
try it out, see if it works, you know? Especially if you're already in, like, when it comes to competing and you're a pro, and you're on stage with all these girls who look amazing, and they're looking for that 1% difference. You need to look at, what else can I do? I'm not just going to continue getting stronger, because sometimes it's not about gaining size, it's about gaining shape, like sculpting or muscle maturity, you know? It's nothing to do with like the actual like size.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
It does make sense.
So yeah, but yeah, we just kind of met. We met
Mhm.
on Instagram. We've never actually
We
met.
still haven't met in person. We were supposed to meet last year.
Honestly, like, I really want to try and come to one of her shows. Like, I was even gonna go this year, but of course, because of this whole coronavirus thing, I don't
Right.
know what the. I know there's some countries that are like restricted to travel to
I
from.
mean, for example, Canada. I still don't know if we're gonna do Canada because we can't go. I
Yeah,
can't travel.
exactly. So unfortunately, it sucks that it has to be this way, but we will definitely meet one day for sure.
Yes. You're
Uh,
my bridesmaid already. I don't know if I ever told you this. You're one of them.
but yeah, that would be amazing. It would be funny if we actually like meet at the wedding or something.
At a wedding.
Yeah. Um, but no, it's really funny because we still haven't met. And like I said to
Yeah.
Annabelle, if you ever want to come like to Europe to visit, like let's say, I don't know, you want to come to, I know you've been to London. Well, you can stay in mine, obviously. Um, but yeah, we've never actually met. So hopefully we will meet one day.
Yes.
Train.
Oh, of course. And if you come here, you're staying with us. Please.
Yeah, I would love to come. I really wanted to come to Canada though. That's the thing, because me and
Yeah.
Seb have always wanted to go there, and I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be cool for us to go, like at the same time as Annabelle's show. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I feel like
Let's
every
see.
month stuff is changing. Like
That's true.